You need a dashcam. It's a basic fact of driving in the 21st century. It doesn't matter if your car is electric, diesel, petrol, LPG, whatever. There is a chance that you will be in a road traffic accident and you need a recording device to provide evidence to law enforcement and insurers. Over the past few years, dashcams have become increasingly elaborate, adding rear cams, 2K and 4K video resolution, GPS as standard, and mobile app syncing. Back in 2017, I tried the Vantrue E2 Pro. This was the first dashcam I had used for review purposes, and I was pretty impressed. It's a decent dashcam that is still available to buy. Vantrue's range of dashcams has developed considerably. How does its new E2 dual camera dashcam compare? I'm Christian Cawley, you're watching Make Use of Reviews, and I've spent a month with the Vantrue E2, hoping that it will be at least as good as the E2 Pro. The E2 or Element 2 is a dual camera system, which means it ships with a rear mounted camera that can be connected to the main dashcam via a lengthy USB Type-C cable. Now, installing a dual camera system isn't what you would call difficult. No lives are at risk, no rockets need to reach the moon. But it is a massive pain. Routing and often rerouting cabling from front to back to make a dual cam setup work can take far longer than it should, and I'm not convinced all this cabling is required. After all, most larger cars have a power supply in the trunk. Rear-facing cameras could send data to the main cam wirelessly. In short, dual cam dashcam setups could be largely cable-free installation. There's something for all you dashcam manufacturers to think about, along with the lack of adhesive cable clips in your kits these days. So anyway, the Vantrue E2, which ships with a front and back camera, both with Sony CMOS sensor and 160-degree wide angle of view. This is an award-winning design, courtesy of the IF Design Awards, an honour bestowed on the entire E range. To be fair, they do look rather nice, like snazzy action cams, and the magnetic mounting system, with GPS built into the mount, has a smart design that matches. Also in the box is a standard power cable, which connects to the vehicle's usual 12-volt supply, once known as the cigarette lighter, a data cable for the rear cam, the windscreen mount, a plastic lever, some anti-static sheets and adhesive pads for mounting, and a surprisingly detailed manual. It's a weighty volume in multiple languages with over 40 pages of comprehensive instructions for the dashcam's functions. I've never been so impressed by a dashcam manual. Not included, adhesive clips aside, is a microSD card, so you'll need to find your own. The cam will work with up to 512 gigabytes of storage, but of course with two cameras running, you're going to get half the storage you would with just one camera. Various recording options are available with the cameras, with 1944p resolution at 30 frames per second the default. You can also set to 10 frames per second for a time-lapse effect, which uses far less space on your SD card. Installation of the Vantrue E2 is straightforward, although I had some issues with the positioning in my car.
One of my favourite things about installing dash cams is putting the one that goes in the back of the car, installing that camera. I say favourite, I'm obviously being sarcastic. I drive an MPV. This is a 7-seat vehicle, which means there's a lot of routing of cables through the car's haberdashery, upholstery, framework, under the carpet, over the carpet, whatever. Well, usually not over the carpet, but around the car. So I'm going to go do that now.
It seemed as if the main 3.5 meter cable could have been a bit longer for comfortable mounting. The camera ended up being mounted at the passenger side, which is fine for me, but hardwiring to the fuse box would have afforded more flexibility here. Sadly, we weren't given a hardwiring kit for this review. The front camera connects to the mount via a connector on the top side of the device. On the front is the camera and a microphone for basic voice commands, and on the back is the display, capable of optional picture-in-picture mode when the rear cam is also installed. The Vantrue E2 also features 4 buttons for managing the menu, along with a power button on the side. Neither is particularly important, as the camera will work without them once synced to the mobile app, available for Android and iPhone. Now, as you probably know, a dashcam sits on your dashboard or windshield quietly recording footage. In most cases, you probably won't need to use it, which is fine, as it should be pretty anonymous. But when you do need the dashcam, it must be straightforward to retrieve video footage. With the Vantrue E2, you can either eject the SD card and read it on your PC, use the included USB data cable to connect the whole camera to your computer, or sync it to the mobile app. The camera supports 2.4 and 5 GHz connections, so data transfer can be pretty swift if required, and the higher the resolution you use, the slower the speed. Once the data is transferred, you can review it in your app, complete with the Google Maps or Baidu map, depending on your preference and location, which illustrates exactly what route you are taking. The dashcam will also record vehicle speed, and there is even an editor for trimming clips for easy sharing, presumably to your insurer or police officer. I don't know, maybe there's a market for dashcam TikToks. The app isn't just for viewing footage. It features a far easier way of configuring the device than the Vantrue E2's hardware buttons. There are screens full of menu options here, enabling all of the features you would expect in a dashcam. For example, different resolutions can be set, the frame rate can be tweaked, and sensitivity settings for emergency recording altered. On that topic, the SD card is divided into 3. There's a directory for normal looped footage in roughly 1-minute segments. There's a directory for photos, and finally one for emergencies. Motion settings in the camera will save footage into the emergency directory when the car moves suddenly or collides with something. Emergency footage can also be saved using the remote control. This is a dashboard mounted device that can also disable or enable audio recording and take photos. It's quite small and unobtrusive. It's wise to install this before you lose it. I place mine just behind the steering wheel where I can easily tap it. It's a really handy little remote, but the great thing is, just like installing the rear cam, using it is entirely optional and doesn't impact on the overall experience of the Vantrue E2. If you prefer to review dashcam footage on your computer, meanwhile, Vantrue provides an app for Windows and Mac. This is arguably the best dashcam software I've seen, enabling you to effortlessly browse a connected dashcam or micro SD card for relevant footage, load it up, and view the GPS information alongside the video. While it might seem I'm pretty impressed with the Vantrue E2, it does have a few niggles. There is no 4K recording, and for some, probably vehicle-specific reason, I found it difficult to install. The lack of a micro SD card isn't ideal. Failing to package adhesive cable clips seems to be turning from a bugbear into a one-man crusade against dashcam companies, and the dashcam is missing a battery for part mode, a feature found in other devices. But this is a solid dashcam that not only looks good, it also records in 2K. That's a resolution that I consider to be the minimal acceptable for a dashcam, as anything less than this loses important details like license plates. And with a wealth of features, impressive mobile and desktop apps with full GPS compatibility and that handy rear camera, the Vantrue E2 has to be on your list of possibles for a new dashcam. In fact, while it might be more expensive than other devices, if you want a decent, trouble-free dashcam experience, or you're looking for a device to begin your dashcam journey, the Vantrue Element 2 is a strong recommendation. If you've enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to the Make Use of YouTube channel for more reviews, tips, tricks, and even some giveaways.